Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I share my colleagues' concerns about AI. In fact, it petrifies me about how realistic some of these things are. I was just reading about deep faking, and good Lord, who knows what this is going to look like in 20 years. And it's up to you guys to actually be objective and clean and make sure that things are free and are fair. Ms. Weintraub, how long have you been serving?
Since the end of 2002.
That's 21 years is best my math, right?
Almost.
So how long is a normal term?
6 years.
6 years. What's that all about?
The statute provides that commissioners, once they've been confirmed, can serve until they get replaced. And as I said, there's been a problem in the past with commissioners leaving and not getting replaced, and then we run out of commissioners and the commission doesn't have a quorum to function.
Well, I say this because there have been some questions about you serving so long and thoughts about you being more partisan, really, than we would like to see on the FEC. And that's just concerning. Realistically speaking, and I'll ask Mr. Cooksey, realistically speaking, how long should commissioners stay on? I don't mean to be as divisive within the commission, but, you know, I think let's be fair, and we don't need people to stay on forever.
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I mean, realistically, Congress set a 6-year term. I think 6 years is a good amount of time. No one voted for me to be on the commission. It's not a lifetime appointment. I'm not part of the federal judiciary. And there is a tendency, I think, to provide a better public service when you have fresher experience from the private sector, from other parts of government. And so I think 6 years is a good number.
Well, don't you think kind of a holdover term creates somewhat of a bad incentive?
Respectfully, as a former Senate staffer, I will say that the Senate is always looking for an excuse to avoid another nomination.
Well, should that commissioner try to be proactive in finding a replacement?
In my opinion, I think commissioners should always be on the lookout for other people who might bring value to the commission with service.
I'm not a legal person. I'm just a dumb surgeon. I look at, other than maybe the Supreme Court, you look at judicial candidates who are elected and put in place to be fair. I believe you guys are judges in a way, very much so. And so I think it would be the expectation of the American public that there be turnover, to bring in fresh faces, just like they scream at us for term limits, the same type of things. So Ms. Weintraub, with all due respect, I hope you will start working on your replacement.
Congressman, with all due respect, that's really the president's job. It's not mine.
Well, maybe you might call him up and suggest that. I just think, you know, enough is enough. We don't need career politicians more than career commissioners. So that said, let me get back a little bit, I guess, to the AI stuff, which, as I said, is absolutely terrifying. You guys have submitted public comment. What do you expect to gain from it? What do you expect to hear? What do you expect to act from it?
I could speak on behalf of myself. I hope that we get good comments on if we have the authority to regulate in this area, and if so, which ways will be the most helpful to the public and to the participants in the political process. Again, authority, as we discuss it internally, one of the biggest concerns that keeps getting raised is, does our statute does FECA give us the authority to regulate this in any way that is different than the way that we regulate anything else?
I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that China will be actively involved, Russia will be actively involved in trying to manipulate our elections. I mean, the president of Mexico said point blank, he was planning on meddling in the actively participating in the elections of the United States. Wouldn't it be great if we just had free and fair elections and the people of America, all who are eligible to vote, were able to vote in a very judicious and open manner? I think that's the aim, regardless of whatever your political proclivities are to do. So.
I would completely agree with that. Thank you.
Mr. Traynor, let me just ask you this other question, because you said a statement earlier that really has bothered me. Who is the entity, who is the persons, who is the committee that's pushing for the secret sharing between the FEC and the DOJ?
The sharing, that's a memorandum of understanding between the commission and the Department of Justice to share that information. Most of the time, those are requests that we receive from the Department of Justice, and I've made it very clear in my comments and my votes that Congress has addressed when the commission should have conversations with the Department of Justice, and that is after we have completed our investigation. If we find that someone knowingly and willfully violated the law, we would turn that information over to the Department of Justice. What we see happening now is that the Department of Justice actually circumventing the processes at the FEC and coming in up front and saying, we want to do a criminal investigation before you've finished your investigation. They ask us to stop, turn over our documents, turn over conversations that campaigns have had with our RAD analysts, and give it to them so that they can begin a criminal investigation before we've even finished. And a lot of times, the statute of limitations for us runs out, and we may or may not get that case back from the Department of
This
Justice.
is the absolute weaponization of our government.
Without question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back.
Gentleman